Three, two, one, and hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Days of the Wolf, coming to you live somewhere from a secret location in the Northwest. It's Wednesday, August 29th, 2018, and this is my little wrap session for the day. Been going through some issues with jobs and the telecommuting component of that. And not everybody is very receptive to that. I think I have three more interviews today, but the most recent one, they were pretty much, they contacted me, and they never mentioned on their advertisement if it was a remote position or not. When I push out my resumes, I'm looking for remote positions, especially if they're outside of the state or outside of the city province, because I have one peeve about having to actually drive back and forth just to be at another place to do the same work, the exact same work that I would do just on my own at home behind my computer and stuff. And it gets really tedious sometimes because I talk to these recruiters, and most of them are recruiters. I mean, they're trying to satisfy a requirement for their clients, and their clients are saying, no, we want butts and seats. You gotta drive into the office and clock in or do whatever in order to kind of program, and it's just it's a big time waster. And I get into this a lot, especially with recruiters. They'll go, well, there's no accommodation for remote work, and like I can understand that if it's like in another time zone where it's really hard to kind of work out time spectrums and stuff. Like if it's on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast, you got a 4-hour difference and stuff. God help you if you're dealing with anybody from like on the other side of the planet, like India or China or something like that. But it's always complicated to get that type of arrangement set up. And how I usually handle it is like telecommuting must be an option. No question, it must be an option. So every once in a while they'll ask, okay, are you willing to relocate? I go, well, yeah, that's fine. I could relocate. You'll spend the dime for it though, because, I have to uproot all my housing and stuff, going to a completely new area where I haven't had a good opportunity to assess the value of property, see if it's actually going up. Like I have no problem relocating to a place where the value of the house is low and there's plenty of room for growth. That's more of a business decision as well, and plus I'll be local to wherever the facility is. But I just got this report, and I thought this was really interesting about, let's see if I can catch it up. This report on how many days Americans waste commuting in the course of a lifetime, mapped by city. It's by Dig, and it's dated today. And around this area is where I kind of approximate, and it's like right in Portland area, Vancouver area. The average round trip commute time is 48 minutes to 56 minutes. And God help you if you are even in proximity of Seattle, where like a lot of the big wigs like Amazon and Microsoft are. There's almost 60 minutes to 77 minutes round trip. That means every day that you have to drive to work and drive back, it's about an hour, pushing an hour and a half out of your day. To say nothing the fact that you have to deal with the traffic in the area. And I could vouch for this. I'm from California originally, but I could vouch for this. the drivers in the Northwest are not the best in the world. I mean, I don't know if it's because of the highways and stuff. I feel like in California you're a little bit more disciplined with the driving because there's so many roads to choose from. But out here it's like, yeah, I always bitch about it because there's a lot of near misses and a lot of accidents. To say the fact, and also when it snows, that makes it even worse. So my argument for, wanting to do a remote work operation is pretty valid. Let me get back into think and drink. There we go. Yeah, back to the camera. Yeah, my argument for remote work is a valid argument. I don't want to spend the money on the car. I don't want to spend money on gas. I don't want to spend time, which is money, on the roads, having to, take my life in my own hands when I'm driving back and forth to work. And the whole reason why I got into software in the first place is so I didn't have to man the registers, physically open the door to the store, and physically punch the numbers to the alarm code, where I had to physically be there to greet the customers and stuff like that. I got into software because software can be done from anywhere. But I have a dickens of a time trying to convince, it's mostly recruiters, a lot of the businesses that approach me without the recruiters as intermediaries are pretty receptive to that. Maybe, a couple of days on site just to kind of flesh things out. And that's fine. I could accommodate that, but it's like their insistence and their adamant insistence. We won't do, we won't do any type of remote work because for whatever reason, they just might have an inconsistency because of across the time zones. But usually I'm talking about remote work from the same time zone. I'm in the Pacific Standard Time zone, so I don't have to deal with, oh, he's ahead an hour, he's behind an hour, oh, it's that thing. Or even if that is the case, and I've had contracts where I had to deal with people all the way, in India and China and stuff like that, and I accommodated myself. Okay, you're up at 8, you're doing work, you know that the people that are also working on your project are on the other side of the planet, which makes them about a day ahead, and you got to accommodate for all that. But it even gets to the point where they don't even want to fuck with relocation. Any type of relocation is just, they'll ask, oh, are you open to relocate? I'm open to relocate if the market for the housing of the place I'm relocating to is optimal. It's an optimal buy-in. Sure, I'll spend the money and make the investment and stuff. I'm also open to relocate if you're paying the expenses. And that's the relocation, that's the logistical expenses to physically relocate, and the additional expenses of securing housing. Simple as that. If you just can't play ball with the telecommuting, you just can't do it. Just can't do it. I know Hewlett Packard had the biggest problem with that for a while, but a lot of professional people, and the professional people that I know, they do their own accounting. They have spreadsheets where they have expenses and stuff in order to facilitate themselves. And businesses, of course, have their own accounting. So I have to say, shout out to all businesses. You got to bend a little bit, on this. I know that you want to keep everything in house. I know that it's security and stuff like that. But that's what VPNs are for, and that's what initial interviews are for, to get an assessment of the people that are working on your projects and stuff. But if you're going to continue the grate of say, oh, we cannot help you with any type of relocation, we're not accommodated for that, and also you have to be on site all the time during working hours, we can't gauge you any other way and stuff. It's just a no-brainer, and I I feel that the world is eventually going to shift away from that, but I'm still dealing with recruiters that are just insistent on it and just won't give me the time of day. That's fine. I'll find clients that will give me the time of day and that are professionally accommodating to those particular items. But other than that, that was just my kind of gripe fest for the day about telecommuting and why it's important, especially when you're trying to get talent in the industry and stuff. Now, of course, there's the other argument. Well, if you telecommuted, then you can get programmers for pennies on the dollar in India, and they wouldn't have to deal with your absorbent salaries and stuff. And while that is technically true, it's also true that you kind of do get what you pay for. I get recruiters all the time, and they're asking me, "Oh, so what salary are you comfortable with? What are you looking to make?" And this item is before they even talk about the project. Oh, they might give you some libraries that's a part of it, but they won't say anything about the project. They just want to know the dollar amounts. And I know if you're asking that question, my return question in all cases, what budget are they dealing with? Do you have a budget for this? And if they say no, well, come on. You're advertising for a gig and you don't have a budget for it. That's kind of ill prepared on your side. But they'll always try to get you and fix you on a particular price, And a lot of the new stuff that's coming out, a lot of the artificial intelligence and the libraries that are very high end, and not a lot of people are really working with the blockchain, or working with particular things that are just high caliber and advanced. They're not working with it very much at all. How do you speculate on a price on that? How do you speculate on, well, what do you want to make an hour or a project or whatever when you're dealing, particularly in regards to the blockchain, when you're dealing with literally the capability of minting capital, cash, money, through cryptocurrency and the tokens that they provide. You're literally having a team of like 4 to 5 engineers crank out e-wallets, the smart contracts, or whatever. Small, tightly hubbed, very skilled people. What do you give them? Like, when you get 230 million in funding, what, like $1 million each per year? How does that work when something that is so close to the money hub? And I consider blockchain very close to the money hub. E-commerce is one abstract away from the money hub because you actually have to sell an item or convince somebody to buy something from your site and stuff. Affiliates are the same way. But blockchain, cryptocurrency, very, very close to the money hub, to the effect that it is literally money. Strange days. Anyway, that was my gripe for the day. Hope everybody is having a great day today. And if you watch me on the YouTube, thank you very much. Just give me a like and a little comment. Always appreciated. And this is D Wolf signing off.